Hello everyone, I'm Frank and welcome to Frank Puzzles, and this is today's very hard puzzle, and it's called Full Circle by Codex. And here are the rules, or codec I guess it would be, not codex. Here are the rules. We have Sudoku, where every row, column, and region indicated by thick borders in the grid, which is a designated 9-cell region, must contain the digits 1 to 9 once each. We have indexer cells, where we need to identify 2 indexer cells in each row, column, and box, with one indexing in the row and the other indexing in the column. The digit in an indexer cell indicates the position of the other indexer cell in its row or column. Positions are counted left to right in rows and top to bottom in columns. So say we knew this was one indexer cell, and say it had the value of 6. It could be that it's an indexer cell for the row, which would mean this is the other indexer cell here. Or it could mean it's the indexer cell for the column, which means the other indexer cell in column 3 would be here. So that's what an indexer cell does. And therefore this, so say it was 6 here, that indexes the digit in the other indexer cell in column 3. Say it was for the column. Then this cell could not index the column. It would have to index the row here. And it would point to the where the other indexer cell would be. We don't know where that would be, though. And that's an example of how indexer cells work. So it cannot point to itself. That's one interesting note, right? It indexes, it tells you the index of the other indexer cell in its row or column, respectively. And it must index along either the row or the column. We don't know which, though, and we don't know where they are. So there are 2 in every row, column, and box, though. So we do know that. Okay, so that's how indexer cells work. We also have killer cages, where an area surrounded by a dashed line is a killer cage. So this is a killer cage, this is a killer cage, and this is a killer cage, etc., etc. Digits in a cage sum to the number in the upper left corner, if given. And indexer cells cannot appear inside a killer cage. That's interesting. So that means none of the killer cages can contain indexer cells. Huh. And for example, these add up to 25, so a valid killer cage here could be something like, let's see, 3, 8, 9, and 5. That adds up to 25. So that's valid there. And those are all the rules. If you'd like to play along, there's going to be a link in the description. And now, I'm going to get started. Let's go. Okay, so since indexer cells cannot appear in cages, we know where the indexer cells in column 1 are. They cannot be here. Okay, let's fill all cages with gray. So these must be the 2 in column 1. So we're going to make one of them green and one of them red, because obviously one set is pointing to one and the other one's pointing to another. If this is okay, so if this is the column 1, it must be pointing to 8. So this would be 8 in that instance. If this is the column 1, it must be pointing to 4. Huh. So either this is 4 pointing to this, or this is 8 pointing to this one. Okay. We have 2 amongst these 3 here. 2 amongst these 3 indexer cells. Okay, to add up to 12, it's either 1, 2, 3, 6 or 1, 2, 4, 5. So this is guaranteed to be 1 through 6. The rest of the box has to be 3 through 9. Okay. To add up to 27, it can be 3, 7, 8, 9 or above. And so it could be 3, 7, 8, 9, 4, 6, 8, 9. Or I believe 5, 6, 7, 9. So we're guaranteed a 9 here. Okay. Okay. So either you have 2 indexers here, or there's an indexer here and 1 indexer here. 25 is not that restrictive, so we don't know what that is. So in column 2, the 2 indexers are in 2 out of these 3. So we are guaranteed either there is 1 indexer amongst these 2, and it could be both. That's possible. Okay, what does that mean? I'm not really sure. There's 2 indexers here. There's 2 indexers here. That's interesting. Say there's an indexer here, the other one. That means none of the rest of the row can be indexers. So therefore, we're guaranteed both of these are indexers. So this cannot be indexed here then, if that's the case. So if this is an indexer, this can't be indexer. These are both indexers, so none of these are indexers, none of these are indexers. That means both of these are indexers, so none of these are indexers, and none of these are indexers. So both of these are indexers, both of these are indexers, so none of these can be indexers, so this has to be indexer here, which means none of these can be indexers. These 2 are indexers, so none of these can be indexers. These are both indexers. Interesting. Huh. So I think you're guaranteed that this has to be an indexer then, right? So again, either one, two out of these three are indexers. So we're assuming this one is, because that is, we have two indexers in row 4, so this can't be indexer, and in box 4, so that can't be indexer, which means both of these in box 5 have to be the indexers, which eliminates indexers in the rest of the column. So this can't be indexers, which means in box 2, the indexers have to be both here, which eliminates indexers here and indexers here, which forces this to be an indexer. So we know if this is an indexer, that guarantees this is an indexer. If this is not an indexer, the two indexers have to be both here. So this is guaranteed to be an indexer no matter what. So this cannot be indexer here. This cannot be indexer here. Okay. So this is either indexing the column, which is 4, or the row, which is 2. So this is guaranteed to be 2 or 4. Okay. This is indexing either the row, which would be 1, or the column, which would be 3 or 4. We don't know. Hmm. Okay. Interesting. I'm guessing this restriction probably is too restrictive, but I'm not certain. So we would gray those out, gray those out. We'd have to gray those out, which forces both those to be essentially valid, which grays those out, so these cannot be indexer cells. Hmm. Let's do the indexing of the column be in the corner. So then this would be, if this is the case, then this would be 8 in the corner. This would be 4 in the corner, so it indexes the up and down. So that's saying this is the other indexer is at 8, which is valid. This is saying the other indexer is 4. So then this is not indexer. If this is indexing row, that would be a 2. If this is indexing column, it would be 3 or 4. So you could have 3 or 4. If it's indexing row, it would be 1. If this is indexing row, it cannot be 1. It could be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay. Okay. So yes, let's assume this is an indexer, which means there's no more indexers in the row 4, in box 2, in column 2. That means in the indexers in box 5 have to both be here, so this cannot be indexer, this cannot be indexer, so both of these are indexers, which eliminates indexers here and indexer here, because this is the only two possible. So one of these is indexing a row. One indexes a row, the other indexes the column. If it indexes a column, it would have to be 1 and 2 in this scenario. So this is not valid because 1 and 2 is not available in box 1. So this is not valid, so this is not an indexer here, which forces this to be an indexer here. So if it's indexing the column, it would be 8. If it's indexing the row, it could be 3 through 9. Same here. This cannot be all three indexes here. Sorry, it can't be two indexes here out in this box 5. If it were, that would force these not to be indexer, which would force both of these indexers here, which is not valid. So we know one of the indexers is here, guaranteed. That eliminates indexers in the rest of row 4. So one indexer is here. There's one indexer here, which guarantees there's one indexer here at most. That means there's one indexer here, which eliminates indexer in the rest of row 3. So if it indexes the row here, that means both of these are indexers, which eliminates indexers in rest of column 7. So to highlight the row, it cannot be 3. It cannot be 4. It has to be 5 or 6 here. So this is 5 or 6 if it's indexing the row. Otherwise, it's 8 indexing the column. So we've guaranteed 1 here. We've guaranteed 1 here. We've guaranteed 1 here, 1 here. So the rest of column 4 cannot be indexer. These are both indexers. Interesting. Okay. Okay. So this would not be 4 if it's indexing the column. It's 3 if it's indexing the column. Interesting. Okay, so whichever one is here, if it's indexing the column, it would have to be 5 or 6. If it's indexing the row, it would be 4 or 7. Interesting. Okay, let's look at all indexing columns. So if this is indexing column, it would be 5 or 6. If this is indexing column, it may be 1 or 2. If this is indexing column, it would be 5 or 6. If this is indexing column, it'd be 1 or 2. We know one of these is indexing. Okay, so we know this is some combination. So we're gonna let's make this actually. Let's make this blue because we don't know. So indexing column, if this is indexing column, it would be 1. If it's indexing row, it would be 2. Sorry, this column, it would be 2. This indexing row would be 3 or 4. This indexing row would be 3 or 4. Huh. Interesting. Indexing column here would be 4, 7, or 9. Indexing column here would be 3, 7, or 9. It cannot be 9. 3 or 7 if it indexes column. Interesting. If this indexes column, this indexing column would be 6, 7, or 9 here. So 6, 7, or 9, but this cannot be 9 because it would only be 6 or 7. We know 2 out of these 3 must be indexers. That's interesting. Does it tell us much? I don't know particularly. These would be 5, 7, and 9. and this can't be 9. And this would be 5, 6, and 9. This would be 5, 6, or 7, and this can't be 9. If this is indexing column, you have 3, 4, and 9. So 3, 4, and 9 are available. This indexing column is 3, 4, 7. Okay. Okay. How does this interact? Okay, so if this is indexing row, it's 5 or 6 specifically. Oops. So this is 5 or 6 if that's the case. We don't. Yeah. Let's highlight what happens if they're indexing the row. So indexing column, it's 5 or 6. Indexing row would be 4 or 7. Indexing columns 1 or 2. Indexing row is 4, 8, or 9. Indexing columns 5, 6. Indexing row is 3 or 7. Interesting. Indexing row would be 2. Indexing column again is 4, 7, and 9. Indexing row here would be 1. Indexing column here is 3 and 7. Indexing row here is either 3, 8, or 9. Cannot be 9. So it's 3 or 8 here. Indexing rows here. These two could be 3, 4, or 9. Indexing rows here is 3, 4, and 8. Rows here indexing are 6, 8, and 9. And this is 6 or 8. This indexing row would be 5, 8, or 9. 5 and 8. This would be 5, 6, and 9. 5 and 6. 5, 6, and... No, 5, 6, and 8 here then. So those are the possibilities. Maybe we just have to try them, right? So say this index row here. That means this would index column. So this would be pointing to 2. This would be indexing column. So this would be 8. This would be indexing column, so it'd be 4. That would force this to be 1 to index the row. That means this would index the row, so it's 8. This means you're guaranteed a 1 here in whatever one of these spots is. That means this indexes column and this indexes row. That seems fine. So, okay, so we know this is corresponding to red, so this is corresponding to green. This is corresponding to red, which means this is corresponding to green. This is corresponding to red, which means this is corresponding to green. Oh, interesting. So we're guaranteed one in each of these corners, right? So one is here, one is here, one is here, one is here. We just don't know which is which, right? Um, you could have the same here because it's red and green. Um, hmm. But you cannot have two here. We're guaranteed that both of these are indexes. Wait, this is wrong. This is indexing. This would have to be 2, and this would be 1, if that's the case, right? Because this is indexing the column. It's saying 2 has to be the other indexer. This is an indexing column that way, so therefore it's saying 1 has to be the column. Okay. Um. Hmm. Mm, yeah, I wonder if we have to go through each different scenario. Maybe. Okay, say reds are indexing the rows. That would mean this is 1. This would have to be 8. So red indexes rows. This is 2. This is 5, 6. This would have to be 3. Um, green's index column. So red would index row. So it'd be 4 or 9. Okay. That's actually very interesting. Um, so if this is 3, 7, 8, 9, that means green cannot index row. They have to index column. So that would guarantee this was an 8. Right? Because 3 and 8 are both eliminated here. 3 and 7 are eliminated here. You would not be so this would not be 8. Okay. So that's interesting. If this is referencing a row, that means this is referencing column. So this column would, is that the case? Well, in this instance it is, because since these are opposite, one references the row, one references the column. These must be opposite here, same reasoning. These must be opposite here, so these are opposite here. Right? This is, or actually that's not true. Ooh. That is not true. This is the same. This is not, right? This is referencing, well, actually, this is not the same either. Oh, that's not good. Okay, so this is not necessarily red and this is not necessarily green. This is guaranteed to be red and this is guaranteed to be green, but these could be... Shoot, okay. So these we don't know. These are guaranteed to be opposites, opposite sets, but these are not. Ugh. Right? Oh, that's kind of weird. Um, hmm. I guess we could make this like pink and orange or something, right? So the orange one has to be one of these two, and the pink one has to be one of those two. But we are not guaranteed that these index different things. They could index the same thing, right? They could both be indexing the row, or they could both be indexing the column. Ooh, that was potentially a bad assumption there. Obviously, if this is 3, 7, 8, 9, then this is indexing the row guaranteed because 3 and 7 are the only possibilities to index column-wise. So say this was 3, 7, 8, 9. Oops. That means this would not be indexing, this would be indexing column here, so this would be indexing row. And this would be indexing row here. So this would be indexing column, so that's 8. This is indexing row 2. This is indexing column 3. This is indexing row. So this is 1 here, which means this is not 1 here. So this is indexing column here, so it would be 2. So this would be indexing row, so this would not be valid. This would be the pink. This is matching green then. This has to be red if that's the case. And therefore indexes row. This indexes row. This indexes row. This indexes row, so this must index column. And it cannot be here. Ah, and then we have a contradiction. There we go. We have a contradiction. So this indexes 5 and 6. Ah, okay. I think we have a contradiction either way. That's not true. Technically, this could both be indexing column. Technically. If this index, so this indexes column and this index, okay. So if this indexes row and this indexes column, obviously we have a contradiction because we are using both the 5 and the 6 here. So then this cannot be 1, 2, 3, 6 and not be 1, 2, 4, 5, which are the only possibilities for it. So that's obviously a contradiction. But technically, you could have this indexing column. So obviously, you can have column here and row here. You cannot have row here and column here, but you could potentially have column and column. Potentially. So say that's the case. This is column and this is, so this is column and column. Therefore, this would be 8. This would be 5 or 6. This would therefore be row. This would be row. This column means this is row, so that's 1. That means this is column, which is 4. Okay. That means this is indexing row, right? Because this indexes column, so this is guaranteed to be a 2 here. Since this is indexing row, this indexes column also. So that indexes column. This indexes row, so this must index column. So we have guaranteed 3 or 7 here. This indexes column, so this must index row. Oh. But we are... One of these could be... could be. This could still actually work, potentially. Maybe. I don't know. 2 is here. This index is column, so it's 3 or 7 with it. Blah. What it cannot be is 3, 7, 8, 9. It still could be 4, 6, 8, and 9. It could be 5, 6, 7, 9, adding up to 27. This cannot be 4 anymore, though. If this is 4, that would reference this as the other indexer, but this indexes the row also. So this is guaranteed to be 8 or 9 here, indexing the row. And this is guaranteed to be, it cannot be 3 because that would be, therefore this is 8. So this is guaranteed to be 8, indexing the row. So this cannot be 8. So that eliminates what? That eliminates 3, 7, 8, 9, 4, 6, 8, 9. So we only have 5, 6, 7, 9 left. So this would then become a 5, 6, 7, 9 quadruplet, which eliminates 7 as a possibility here. So this 3 would indicate that it indicates the column. So it references one of these two. That is interesting. So it would reference, this references the column, and it's saying it has to be 3. So that means these two are in the same row, or these two are in the same row. That means you have 2 that are the same here, or 2 that are the same here for the index. That's possible. Okay, so we're guaranteed 1 index here. If we had another index here, would that work? That would mean none of these are indexes, and therefore there would be 1 index here. So that's not possible. So then this cannot be 8 here, because then that would force both of these indexes to be here. These are both indexing the row. So that means these would both index the column here. Interesting. So this cannot be 6, 7, and 9. It's guaranteed to be 7 or 9. This would be 7 or 9 also, because you can't have both of these be the same. Can you have both of these being the same? Yes, potential. No. There's 2 per box. So we're guaranteed 1 here for the 8, and we're guaranteed 1 here for the 9. And they're both, okay, so that means this must be, so it must be inference, so this has to be 7. Okay. So that means these both have, whichever one's here has to reference here, because it references the column. This references the row, that references the column, so this must be row. This also must reference row. So this is guaranteed to be referencing row. So this is green, which forces one of these to be red. This is red too, so this must have a green. And there cannot be two greens here. So this is not referencing that. This is referencing a 9. So this is not. This is green and green. And we have a contradiction. Because these are referencing each other, one of these references itself, one of them references the other, and the other references something outside. But these must both be referencing columns. So there's the contradiction there that we run into if we assume these are both columns. So it cannot be. Therefore, we have all the information we need then. So you cannot have this referencing the... So this is a green, guaranteed. Which forces this to be red. Since this is green, it matches with a red here. And then the other one's green, which means it must match with a red here. So this is red, which forces this to be green. Okay, so there we have this. If red matches, references, indexes the row, that means green indexes the column. So this is 5, 6, and 5, 6, but that would eliminate all possibilities for this. So therefore, reds must reference the column. So this is 8, and green must reference the row. So this references row, this references column, this references row. So it cannot have 8 here. You cannot have 8. This references row, this references row. So this is 2. This references column, and this references row. So we're guaranteed this is not 3, 7, 8, 9. So it's either 4, 6, 8, 9, or 5, 6, 7, 9. So 6 and 9 are here. Guaranteed. We have a guaranteed 3 or 7 here. This references column. Oops. This references column. This references row. Sorry, no, this references column. This references row. We don't know which one of these is referencing which. Okay. This references row. So it's either 3 and 8. So say it references the 3 here. That would mean you'd have 3 and 1 together. Therefore, these two would be the indexes, right? Or if it goes this way, it would still be the index here. Okay. If it's referencing 8, so this cannot be 1 here. We're guaranteed a 1 somewhere in column 1, 3 then. So 1 has to be one of these two. 4 cannot be any of these 3. Okay. Okay. You cannot have two indexes here, because if there's two indexes here, if there's two indexes here, these cannot be indexes, and there's only one index in box 9. So we're guaranteed at least one index here. If that's the case, right. So this cannot be two indexes here, because that would force this box to only have one index. You cannot have two indexes here, because if you have two indexes here, that would guarantee only one indexer for box 9 also. So we are guaranteed an indexer here. Okay, we're just going to make this blue again. This we're going to make orange. This we're going to make yellow. We are guaranteed one indexer here and one indexer here. Neither of which can be referenced by this green indexer here. So this must be, whichever is the indexer here, it must be red. Because if it were green, no, it cannot be red. Sorry, it cannot be red unless it's indexing with its in its own box. Because if it's red, it would have to, and it's not indexing something in the box, it would have to be an indexer with this green here. But this green is pointing, saying at 3 and 8. So this would have to be green also. It cannot be the red indexer. So the guaranteed indexer here is green. We don't, if it's red and it's not indexing outside the box, it would have to match this. But this doesn't point to in that because it's a 9. So same with this. If this is indexing here, we know there's an indexer here. Say this was green. If this was green and it doesn't index with this, that's not necessarily true. Okay, okay. But we are guaranteed an indexer here and an indexer here for certain. What we cannot have, though, is this being 8 and this being 7. So if this is 8, this could not be indexing 7, so it would have to index the one here. So we would guarantee that you have index here, here, and or index here, here, if that's the case. If this index is one of these, okay, what does that mean? Oh, my brain is hurting from this, though, a little bit. That means So one of these must be indexing the 3, right? You can't have 8 and 7 here because that would eliminate all the possibilities for this, right? We've already eliminated 3, 7, 8, 9. If we have 7 and 8 here, that eliminates 4, 6, 8, 9, and 5, 6, 7, 9, which are the only possibilities adding up to 27. So one of these must be referencing this. So that means either this is referencing that, which means both of these are indexers, or this is referencing that, which means both of these are indexers. Interesting. Okay, so what happens if that's the case? So say you have both of these be indexers, then these must be indexers. So can you ever have both indexers here is kind of the question, right? I guess so. So if it's here or here, that means it's here or here, which would mean this is indexer. Okay. Okay, so this cannot contain a 1, so it cannot be 1, 7, 8, 9. Could be 2. This digit cannot be 6, 7, 8, or 9. So it's 1, 2, 4, 5? Is that right? Cannot be 6, cannot be 7, 8, 9. It could be, it can't, one of these is guaranteed to be 3, so it can't be 3 either. Okay. So it's either going to be something like this, which guarantees this is an indexer. So if it's here and here, that means this is 3. So this has to be 7 here, referencing there. So there's guaranteed 1 here, there's guaranteed 1 here, which means this can't be an indexer, so this is an indexer with this. Okay. Or this is 3, which references this, so then one of these two is indexer. So this must be 8, which means one of these is indexer. So we have 2 indexers here, this is indexer. So I don't think this is ever indexer. Hold up, okay. Let's go through the scenarios. Say this is the 3. It references that. It could be any of the ones, but we're just going to use this one. So then these are both indexers here, guaranteed. This cannot reference 3. It must reference 7. So then this is an indexer. That's an indexer. This cannot be indexer, so this is guaranteed to be indexer. 1 is here. That's 1 here, so this is not indexer. And therefore, this is indexer. Right? So that's if that scenario. let's say we had other way around. It's here, right? So then these are not indexers. This is not indexer. These two are indexers. This cannot be indexer, so this must be indexer here. This must reference, this is 3, so this must be referencing 8. So that's an indexer here. There's one here. Therefore, this can't be indexer. So we know, okay, that's interesting. We know whichever scenario it is, this is not the indexer. So this is yellow. This is orange, so this must be yellow here, and this must be orange. So this is guaranteed. Um, hmm. Okay. That means if this is indexing column, it has to index 7. And if this is column, it's indexing 5 or 6, that's fine. This can no longer, if it's row, it can no longer index 4. Because that doesn't index the column, it indexes a row. And again, so this is 3 or 8 if that's the case. If this indexes column, it cannot be 7 again. So this is 5 or 6, and this is 5 or 6. This can't index 8. So this has to be a 5-6 pair here. Either way it works, it has to be 5 and 6, right? So either this indexes row, which is 5 or 6, or it indexes column, which is 5 or 6. This indexes row, which is 5 or 6, or it indexes column, which is 5 or 6. Interesting. Huh. If this indexes row, again, it cannot be 4. It would have to be 3 or 9. If it indexes column, this has to be 9, I believe. Right? Yeah. If this indexes row, it's 8. If it indexes column, if this indexes row, it's 9. If this indexes column, it cannot be 4. This can't be 4 then either. Interesting. Okay, what does that tell us? I am not completely certain. Okay, let's go through the both scenarios again then. Say this was 3. We had 3 here. This is pointing to this. So then these two are the 1s, right? That means this is pointing to 7. So the green would have to be one of the 7s here. This would then be red. That would force this to be green, this to be red, this to be green, and this would be red. If that's the case. Right? So this would be red and that would be green. Okay. What happens if it's this way? Then this would be 3. referencing that. This would not be 3. It would be 8 referencing that. So therefore, this would be the red, which would make this green, which would make this red, and this green. So either way, this is red and this is green, it seems like, right? So again, we tried this one. These reference each other. This references a 7, so this has to be the green here, which forces this to be red. Yep, this is red. So this is red either way. Okay, so this is red either way then. This is green, which means this has to be green, and this must be red. Red references the column, so this cannot be 8. This is 3 and 7. It references either 3 or 7 here. This references row. That means this must reference row, so this must be 9. So this is the green. This is the red, which means it must be 9 here. Okay. You can delete that. We are guaranteed a 9 here then in rows 5 and 6 for box 6. In box 5, we are guaranteed a 9 in rows 5 and 6. So this cannot contain a 9. We know then 9 has to be one of these two digits here. So this cannot contain 1. It cannot contain 9. It can't be 5, 6, 7, 8. What's the maximum it could be? It has to be 4, 6, 7, 8 at max. If we try to have 5, 6, 7, 8, that would eliminate all possibilities for this cell. So 4, 6, 7, 8 adds up to 25 exactly and is the maximum we can have for this cage. So this must be 4, 6, 7, 8. Which eliminates 8 here. That means this can't be 6. This is a 5. This can't be 4 here. So this is referencing row 5. So this is the red, which means this cannot be red here. So this is nothing. It's referencing either 3 or 7 here. This is 4, 6, 7, 8. We are guaranteed in the rest of box 4, 1, 2, 3, and 9. 1 obviously cannot be here. 9 cannot be here. This is 5. This can't be 5 here. This is guaranteed to be 4 here. So this cannot be 4 here. So this must be a 1, 2, 3, 6 quadruplet adding up to 12. So this can't be 3 or 6. This can't be 3 or 6. We have 4, 5, 7, 9 remaining in the rest of box 1. Okay, this is guaranteed 9 here. This is red. So this cannot be red here. Because this has to point to one of the greens. So this is gray. So this is the red here, which means it's 3 or 7 here. So this cell, see, one of these points to 3, the other one points to 7. We don't know which is which. But these cells see this cell and this cell, and these must be different cells because they point to different columns. So this can never be 7 here. That's interesting. We are guaranteed a 9 here. This cannot be 7. So this is not pointing to row, it's pointing to column. This is not pointing to column, it's pointing to row, which has to be a 6. So this is 6, saying that 6, the other index is in 6. This then has to be 5, which means the other index is in 5. So this cannot be an index here. So this is pointing to 3 or 8. So this cannot be the other green. So this is pointing to 3 or 8. Again, so 8 cannot be here, because again, they see the different 3 and 8, and these must be different digits. Hmm. We are guaranteed an 8 in one of these cells in box 5. We are guaranteed an 8 in one of these cells in these boxes. That eliminates 8 as a possibility in the rest of rows 5 and 6. So this has to be 5, 6, 7, 9. So this has to be 5, 6, 7, 9, adding up to 27, which means this can't be 7. This is 3, which means this can't be 3. That's 8, which means this can't be 8 here. Therefore, this is 8 here. That eliminates 8 here, so this is 3. That means it's pointing to the red here, so this cannot be red here. This is gray, which means this is a 9, so none of these can be 9 here. We have a 5, 6, 7 triplet in row 6, which eliminates 5, 6, and 7 in the rest of the row. This can't be 6 or 7, it's 4. That eliminates 4 here. This can't be 3, this can't be 3. So where is the 3 in box 4? It has to be here, so this cannot be the red. Therefore, this is red here, pointing to one of those two. This is 8, pointing to the reference here. This is 3, pointing reference to there, so this cannot be the green. Therefore, this is 2. This can't be the other green. So this must be the green, and it's pointing to 9. This must be 7 to point to the other index. So this cannot be 7 and 9. This becomes a 5, 6 pair. This 5, 6 pair eliminates 5 and 6 in the rest of the box. This cannot be 5 or 6. It's 7. This can't be 7, so it's 6, which makes that 7. That eliminates 6 here, so it's 5 and 6. This has to be 9 then. And this cannot be 5. It's 1, 2, or 4. This is 1, 2, or 4. This cannot be this referencing. This has to reference 6. So this is 6. We have 1 or 2 here. This must be a 1, 2 pair in row 6. Okay. That means the 5 has to be one of these two. No, this is referencing the column, so this is referencing row. Okay. Remaining digits in box 6. We have, okay, so this is 1 or 2. One of these is 1 or 2, which eliminates 1 and 2 in the rest of the column. So this has to be 3 through 9 remaining. Obviously, this can't be 5 or 6. This can't be 3 or 9. This can't be 6, 7, or 8. This can't be 5. This can't be 8. This is not 9. This is not 7. This is not 4. Remaining digits here are 1, 2, 4, 5. We have this can't be 1 or 2 because of the 1, 2 pair in the box. This can't be 4. This 4, 5 pair eliminates 4 and 5 in the rest of the row. So this is 1 or 2. We have a guaranteed 6 here. So 6 has to be one of these digits here. We have 1 or 2 here, 4, 5. Remaining digits in row 4 are 6, 7, and 8. This can't be 6 because of the 6 in the column. So let's make sure. Okay, 8 is referencing the column, so that's saying the other indexes in column 8 is in the 8th position, which it is. That's saying the 1 has to be in position 4, 1 in the row. This is saying the other index is in position 4 in the column, position 5 in the row, position 3 in the column, position 2 in the row, which it is. This is saying position 8 in the row, which it is, position 9 in the column, position 6 in the row, position 7 in the column, position 9 in the row, position 5 in the column, position 3 in the row. And we don't know what else there is. Okay. Remaining digits in column 1. We have 1, 2, 3, 7, 9. But this cannot be 1. So 2, 3, 7, no 9 here. 2, 3, no 7, and that's 9. Okay. One of these is guaranteed to be 7 or 9. Okay, this 6 eliminates 6 here. So we're guaranteed a 6 here. Okay, so we are guaranteed 6 here and 6 here in columns 1 and 2, which eliminates 6 in the rest of the columns rows 1 and 2. So therefore 6 has to be one of these two digits. Okay. It's not too helpful. Remaining digits in column 2. We have 2, 3, 5. There's no 6 and 9. 2, 3, 5, and 9. Well, this can't be 5 or 9, so this is 2 or 3. We have a 2, 3, 6 triplet in column 2, which eliminates 2, 3, 6 in the rest of the column. So this can't be 2. This is 9. This can't be 2, 3, or 9. So this is 5. Interesting. That means this cannot be 9. This becomes a 1, 2 pair here. Okay. Remaining digits in column 3 are 4 through 9. This cannot be 5 or 9. These can't be 4. This can't be 5 either because we have 4 and 5 guaranteed here. This can't be 6 or 7, so this is 8 or 9. So we're guaranteed a 6 here also. Interesting. Okay. Remaining digits of column 4. We have 1, 4, 5, 6, 8. Okay. 8. This can't be 6 because of 6 in the box. This can't be 1, 4. This can't be 5. This can't be 5 or 6. Okay. Remaining digits in column 6. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. This can't be 2 for any of those digits. This can't be 8. This cannot be 1 or 4, so this is 2, 3, or 8 here. Okay, when it's referencing a row, I think it has to reference 4, right? Because, yeah, if it references 3, then these would both be referencing rows. And we know there's only one referencing a row per row and column. So this has to be 4, referencing a row. So this cannot be 4. This is 5, which makes this 4. This can't be 4 or 5. This can't be 4 here. So where's 4 in column 9? Cannot be here because one of these is guaranteed to be 4 to reference the red. Cannot be here because of the 4 in the box. Can't be here because of 4 in the row. So this must be a 4 here, which means this cannot be 4 here. Where is the 4 in? Well, we know the 4 has to be in row 4, one of those two. In row 7, it has to be one of those two. Okay. Um, what are we guaranteed here? We're guaranteed that it references a row, cannot be 4, it has to be 7. So therefore, this is guaranteed to be 7, so this can't be 7, this is 9, which means this can't be 9. We have a 1, 2, 3 triplet in column 1, which eliminates 1, 2, and 3 in the rest of the column. So that's 7. This cannot be 9 here, so this is 4, 5, and 7 has to be one of these two to reference the other indexer in this column. That means none of these can be 7. This can't be 9 anymore. This has to be a 6-9 pair because there's no other place for 9 in box 2. Where's the 9 in column 9? It has to be here because it cannot be, it has to be one of these two here. It has to be one of those two there. What else do we have? Where is the 7 in box 2? Cannot be here or here. 9 can't be here, so 9 has to be one of those two, which means this has to be 7. So this cannot be 7 here. 7 cannot be here because of the 7 in the row. Remaining digits of row 3. We have 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. Obviously, this can't be 4 or 6. This cannot be 3, 4, or 5. Interesting. Remaining digits of column 4 are 1 through 5. This cannot be 1 or 4. This cannot be 4 or 5. This can't be 5. Where is the 5 then in column 4? Cannot be any of these cells. Can't be here, so this must be 5 here, which eliminates 5 from this cell. Where is the 5 in column 5? It has to be one of those two cells. Okay, that doesn't help us too much. Okay. Remaining digits. Oof. Remaining digits of row 7. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 8. No 4 and 6, obviously, because of the 4, 6 in the box. Remaining digits of row 8. We have 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. No 6, obviously, because 6 in the boxes can't be 9 because of 9 in the column. We know 9 has to be one of these two digits, so this cannot be 9 here. This can't be 3 because of the 3 in the column. Remaining digits in column 8. We have 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8. Okay, and any of those could be the case. In column 9, we have 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9. 6 is not allowed because one of these two has to be 6. We're guaranteed a 9 here. Okay. Um. Huh. Okay. Blah. Hmm. Okay, we can remove the darks because we have everything else colored in. Um. Hmm. Where is the 3 in column 6? It has to be one of these 3 digits because there's no other 3 possible in box 2. So this cannot be 3. We are guaranteed a 3 has to be one of these 2 digits. Ah, we are guaranteed a 3 in column 4 to be one of these 2 digits, and it's in row 7 and 9. In box 7, 3 has to be guaranteed to be in row 7 or 9. That eliminates 3 in the rest of row 7 or 9. So this cannot be 3, therefore this is 8. This can't be 3 or 8. This can't be 3 or 8, so this is 9. That eliminates 8 and 9 in the rest of the box. So this is a 2, 3, 7 triplet, which eliminates 2, 3, 7 in the rest of the row and the rest of the box. This can't be 2, so that's 1. This can't be 2, so it's 8. That eliminates 8 from being here. We have a 1, 3, 4 triplet in column 6 and in box 2, which eliminates 1, 3, 4 in the rest of the box and column. This can't be 1, 3, or 4, so this is 2. This can't be 1 or 4, it's a 5-8 pair. This 2 eliminates 2 here, so it's 1. This can't be 1 or 2, so it's 4. 2 eliminates 2 here, so it's 1, which makes that 2. So this 2 says the indexer is in position 2, so this cannot be green. This is the green. It references the row, so it must reference here. So this is 7. That means this cannot be 7. That references this, which means this is the red. So this is green. Therefore, this can't be red. This is red here. This indexes the row, so this must index the column. So that's 6. This is 9. 7 indexes the row, so this must index the column. So this is 1, which makes this 4. That 4 eliminates 4 here, so it's 5 and 4. 1 eliminates 1 here. Also eliminates 1 here and eliminates 1 here, so this is 2. That's 1. This 1 eliminates 1 here, so it's 6. These can't be 1 anymore. This can't be 1 anymore. 6 eliminates 6 here, so it's 3. This can't be 3 or 3, so that's 5. This can't be 3 or 4, so it's 1, which means eliminates 1 here. This 1 eliminates 1 here, so this has to be a 1 here. 6 eliminates 6 here, so this can't be 6, so this must be a 6 here. Okay, this 4 eliminates 4 here, so it's 3 and 4. 3 eliminates 3 here, so it's 2, 3, 2, and 3. This can't be 1, 3, or 4, so that's 2. This can't be 1 or 2, so it's 3. This 9 eliminates 9 here, so it's 8, which makes this 6, which makes that 9. 8 eliminates 8 here, so it's 1. This 8 eliminates 8 here, so it's 6. This can't be 1, 6, or 8, so it's 4. This 3 eliminates 3 here, so it's 7. This can't be 7 or 8. 6, so this can't be 6. This can't be 5 anymore. This 7 eliminates 7 here, so it's 2, which makes this 3. That eliminates 2 in the rest of the column. This can't be 2 or 3 here. This 5 eliminates 5 here, so it's 8 and 5. Where is the 2 in row 2? It has to be here. This 7 and 9 eliminates 7 and 9 here, so it's 8, which makes this 7, which makes that 9. 7 eliminates 7 here, so that's 8 and 7. Shoot. Did I mess up? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, yeah, we have multiple 6s, so this is a 4. And that's a solution. Yeah, interesting rule set here. The indexers was very interesting as a rule set. And the restriction for the killer cages was interesting also. I don't know. It was just going through basically a lot of different possibilities. I didn't really feel it was very hard. The logic behind it is close to very hard logic, but the actual execution didn't seem too bad, right? So you have to have the logic of how do these indexer cells work. And that wasn't too bad, but it's basically something that you're not used to. So because of that, it might be very hard for people. But it didn't seem too bad to me. I don't know, maybe it's just something that if you go down a lot of bifurcations, you sort of have to keep these ideas in mind necessarily. So you're sort of having to go through these possibilities of what happens if I make this assumption, right? So I'm quite surprised actually it got as high a rating as it did, because usually people don't enjoy bifurcation things. And this is essentially a bifurcation rule set, right? You have to go, what happens if I assume this is the column indexer? And then you go down that path. And then you have to see if you can run into a contradiction. That's essentially bifurcation, guys. Sorry to burst your bubble, but sometimes that's going to be the case, right? Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this solve, and I'll see you next time on Frank Puzzles. Take care.